The outrageous antics of Don Imus and Howard Stern may have offended some people, but if they weren't so bad, they wouldn't be so good.
66 WNBC.
Australia is a wonderful island with a treasure trove of unique plants, animals, and people.
It has to be protected.
Australia is free of many pests and diseases that are commonplace around the world. That is why Australia has to have such strong biosecurity laws.
And Australians are just as unique, both warm and direct. When you disrespect Australian law, they will tell you firmly.
I am truly sorry that Pistol and Boo were not declared. Protecting Australia is important.
Declare everything when you enter Australia.
But I think people should know there is a virus here. It kills people, and the only way we prevent it is to get vaccinated, to wear masks, and not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom, because with freedom comes obligations and kind of responsibilities. We cannot just say, I have the right to do X, Y, and Z. When you affect other people.
You're unbelievable, man. You're unfucking believable. Number of times you're strolling and fucking around in the background. I never had a DP behave like this. You don't fucking understand what it's like working with actors. That's what that is. That's what that is, man. I'm telling you. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. You wouldn't have done that otherwise.
No, what it is looking at the light and making sure that you are...
I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. You know, shut up for a second, all right? I'm gonna go. Do you want me to go fucking trash your lights? Do you want me to fucking trash them? Then why are you trashing my scene?
I'm not trying to trash.
You are trashing my scene.
You did an interview in which you said, it's not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist, it's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good.
You don't think it's bad?
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
What would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. They don't want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again and get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
Well, where should I start? A year ago, my approval rating was in the 30s. My nominee for the Supreme Court had just withdrawn, and my vice president had shot someone.
You know, I think I understand what it's like to be a woman now, because I was taking my lunch break and I was walking in the Union Square area of Manhattan, New York City, USA, waiting for the light to change. A guy pulls up next to me on a bicycle.
Roll for two.
And says, just a regular bike. And he says to me, unsolicited, you should put a smile on that face. You look better. Yeah, thank you. I mean, okay, yeah. I still got it. That's the headline. But that's not the point here. And he was not bad looking. But still, that's not the point. Point is, he made me feel like a piece of meat.
Because he
and
said
that
you
ain't
should
right.
put a smile on that face?
Yeah, he doesn't have the... In the first place, I wasn't frowning. I don't think I was frowning. But
were you
that's something that...
smiling?
No, but that's something that I hear. Every woman hears like 15 times a day. You should smile more. As a woman, would you say that's true? Do you hear that?
No.
An undue amount of time? Really?
No.
Just unsolicited comments from gentlemen?
I don't know if I ever heard you should smile more. I would say through the years I probably did.
That's a common icebreaker.
Yeah, that's not going to make you popular with anybody.
Well, it doesn't break this ice. Nope, this ice stays right where it is. But I got a little glimpse of what it's like to be a woman. And I'm sorry. That's all I want to say. I'm sorry, women. To women of the world, I'm sorry.
I'm
We
sorry we are so shallow. We do
We're
that
awful.
to you.
We're awful.
I
But
tend to walk down the street with a smile. What can I say?
well, I wasn't. I mean,
I'm
it's
not
New
saying
York. Okay, there's a million people. Everybody's. I'm not walking around with a black cloud over my head. So yeah, maybe I had a neutral face on. So sue me. I'm going. I'm getting a sandwich.
Why
What am I
sue you when
supposed
he
to be
can just tell
doing?
you to
Jumping jacks?
smile? No, you were just supposed to smile.
Should I be doing jumping
Does
jacks
it
on 14th
hurt
Street?
you
Come on.
to smile?
Oh, you're one of them now. Oh, okay. All right. When does the objectification end? Is what I want to know.
I can't.
It's what it is. It's the idea or the assumption that you have the right to speak to anybody you want to in that way. It's just really an awful behavior that men. I don't know where you learn that, because my kids didn't learn it. I didn't. Well, I mean, I didn't grow up in the city, but my kids certainly didn't learn it from me.
I think that might be something you'd hear in a small town, though, too. That sounds small town.
Well, yeah, but see, that's why it's when you hear it here, you are a woman and you hear it from a man who's like, "Oh, hey, baby, you should smile more. You look more pretty if you smile more." Or even a toned down version of that. It's like, you have no right to speak to me. We're strangers. We're all strangers. It's a big city. That's how this
A
city
stranger's
works.
just a friend
You don't talk
haven't
to
met
me.
yet.
I don't talk to you.
Yuck. City life sounds.
That's right.
Unfun.
A stranger you have.
A stranger's just a friend you
robbed.
haven't met yet.
Here it's a stranger is just a friend you haven't robbed.
No, I don't like that.
But hey, that's it's life in the city. It's a trade, because we got more Starbucks here than per capita than probably anywhere. But Portland, maybe.
That could be. Well, there's a different Scooters is what it's called, which I think is kind of a silly name. But this house I was going to, it's clear on another side of town that I don't go to. I don't go that far to the other side of town unless I'm leaving town.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, instead of really thinking about this and really paying much attention, I just turned on the GPS, and it would tell me to turn at the corner and it would list the coffee place. Turn at the corner after Scooters. Like, what? That's really the dilemma? Okay. Turn at the coffee place. You got it. So I did. And I got there. I drove so far that if I had been in New York, I don't know how many boroughs I would have crossed. I'm just saying distance-wise.
Mm.
I drove miles and miles and miles. I drove almost from one end of the city to the other.
Okay.
That's how far I went. That's how far I went.
Well, I tell you, my daily commute, I've been walking because it's gorgeous here right now. It's 97 in the shade. It's beautiful. New York is just so wonderful in August. I walk from Port Authority, which is on 40th Street and 8th Avenue, and I walk down to 12th Street and 5th Avenue, and also back. And avenues are very wide. So an avenue is about 2 city blocks. So, I don't know, what is that, a couple of miles, probably, each way? It's a good walk. Takes me...
Is it uphill both ways?
No.
Get
it's
it?
not uphill at all.
No, the old things when parents or grandparents. I had to walk 5 miles to school uphill both ways.
In the snow, yeah. So Andrew Cuomo put in his 2-week notice.
Yes, he did.
How's that work? How do you put in a 2-week notice when you're being forced out because of a scandal? Don't you just leave? I mean, don't you? What is he going to steal some office supplies?
I think there are just couple things he wanted to get done.
Right, but we're saying the people are saying you have to leave. It's not, does it take 2 weeks to put your things in a box?
Well, they hadn't gotten that far. All the paperwork was being drawn up, but nothing was done. He left before they could get it done. So that it was his time, his terms, more or less.
Yeah, to me it seems like it's just posturing. It's control. The man has control issues, which is kind of the problem that got him here, isn't it? He's got to be in control. So I'm leaving on my terms. Hey, I'm Italian. He actually said, "I'm not a pervert. I'm Italian." Did you see that quote?
I missed that.
Yeah.
I saw a few things that he said, and There were a couple things, and again, by no means am I saying, yep, whatever they've proven he's been accused of, blah, 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 is okay. But it is interesting, and I think we had talked about that. Like, as far as kissing somebody on the cheek or putting your arm, it's always that know your audience, first of all, because in some worlds, that's not as big a deal, and in some worlds, it's a huge deal. But just, how do I want to say this? I mean, my family we're a huggy bunch, and so we would probably offend people and not be aware. You would hope that somebody wouldn't be intimidated enough, that they would feel comfortable enough to go, yeah, but I'm not saying we just reach in and hug everybody. That's not what I'm saying at all. But if that is the type of person you are, always, again, I revert back to know your audience, but that's kind of a scary thing. And then I am still mad that the great big Cheeto, I shouldn't say that, I love Cheetos, is still getting away with everything. One doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the other, but then I go back to, as you and I were talking about, anybody, if they have a D by their name and they get accused of anything, the Democrats go after them. They don't wait for the Republicans to go after them. They just get out right here, right now, get out before they even have a chance to defend themselves, to state their case.
Mm-hmm.
You got
Sometimes way before.
Uh-huh. You know who I'm thinking of primarily, don't you?
Franklin.
Al. Yep. Drives me bonkers. So give somebody at least an opportunity to say, hey, this is what was going on. This is my understanding of it. Look into it a bit before you go shipping a really good person off. Okay. I'm going to put my soapbox down for a minute. Your turn.
Well, I think in Cuomo's case, I'm satisfied at the conclusion of the investigation. I mean, I didn't look at the evidence the way they did, so their conclusion, I kind of have to defer to it. My opinion kind of is moot. I mean, Al Franken is a whole different story.
Yeah, see, Al is who I'm talking about, not Cuomo. So.
Yeah, no. I mean, the Franken thing is a tragedy. It really is a tragedy. I mean, he was Roger Stone. There's proof. There's receipts. He was Roger Stone. The woman was literally. But would I say there was receipts? There's literally a receipt that she received from Roger Stone for services paid. It's sickening, but it's also so frustrating that the Democrats want to and do play by the rules, as you should. I mean, as of course we teach our children, you should play by the rules. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but the rules don't mean anything if only one side's playing by them. If the other side is openly mocking them, then why play by those? You've changed the rules. Play by the other rules.
Due process. Or
at least even just a little bit of public posturing. Hey, we're going to stand behind this guy until we know all the facts. A little bit of that. You don't have to go completely to the, one accusation, boom, you're gone. There's a lot of wiggle room inside those two extremes.
You tend to fall on somebody said, what? All right, get out. Before they get a chance to defend themselves, state their case, say, nope, this picture might look bad, but here's actually what was happening. I'll spell it all out for you. I'll show you what it was. I'll tell you what it was, but you need to listen to me for just a moment, kind of thing.
You can say that it's taking the high road. The Democrats are taking the high road, but it's still, it's still frustrating.
Let's see. Oh, I got a link to some video about some guy who can tell us all about the fraud from the 2020 election. Oh, please.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Does he sell pillows, too?
Oh, no, but that guy is conducting seminars on fraud.
He is.
A guy from Wisconsin, and yes, he's making the state pay for all of these things. He's charging all these lovely trips to the citizens of the state. And one or two of them have been led by MyPillow.
Mike Lindell. Mm-hmm. Former crack addict. Current crack status unknown. Yeah.
I should chuckle, but I'm going to anyway. I'm going to. He's just ridiculous. You would hope that anybody in his world is humiliated to be associated with him.
No, he's weeded all those people out. Anybody who's in his orbit now can't possibly be humiliated. They wouldn't be in his orbit.
True.
Trump was the master of that. Just get rid of all the people who aren't complete toadies, and then you've got, complete 100% compliance.
I mean, the man can't even tuck in his shirt. Come on. Come on, you go into the White House and you can't tuck in your shirt.
I
Of course,
saw
that's
his,
probably not a prerequisite. It's just, how far can you stick your schnauzer? You know what I was going to say next, right?
Well, yeah. I curse you for giving me that imagery in my head.
Hey!
It's going to be there for at least 2 weeks.
You're
It
welcome!
just doesn't go
You're
away.
welcome!
Ring around the tub that just doesn't go away, you know?
You know, consider it a gift.
Could I get a gift receipt for that?
Nope.
All right.
No receipts. No receipts.
Speaking of receipts, Rand Paul's in another little jam.
Oh,
Another
he's Twinkie.
felony that'll go nowhere, actually. He kind of forgot to declare that his wife, I feel like an idiot for forgetting this, but she bought a lot of stock. That
Oh,
have to
really?
be reported. Yeah, and he didn't actually report them until they lost money on them, which is, he had to dump them, so that's why he...
Oh, that.
Yeah, so it's a huge ethics violation, and of course it will not prompt an investigation,
No,
and we'll never hear of it again,
no.
and he'll continue to do so. So
Are you sure it
Yay.
wasn't their financial advisor that did it and didn't tell them that he was doing it or she was doing it, and so they were absolutely unaware that any of this was going on? And then as soon as he saw what had happened, he reported it immediately. That's the usual statements that you get from them.
Yeah, that would work. I think he went with, I filled out the papers back in whatever year, and I put them in my desk, and I forgot to file them. That's what he's going with. So he's going with, no, see, I have it right here. I just forgot to file it. So he's going to go with that. And it'll work. Of course it'll work. It's stupid enough to work. And,
Well, then perhaps he needs to work on his organizational skills.
Well, I guess in hindsight we could, maybe he could fire some staffers, some interns.
In hindsight,
Yeah. Self-described ophthalmologist. You know his deal, right? He couldn't, because there's a bar, an ophthalmologist bar you have to go through? He couldn't pass it. So, seriously, so he created his own. It's a board.
Oh, that's
It's a board
right.
review. Yeah, so he created his own board and called it, the Ophthalmologists of America, USA, or whatever he called it, LLC, and then he certified himself. So yes, he can say he's board certified, but it's because he created his own board and only certified one person, being himself. So
no,
yeah,
because nobody else wants to be part of that.
they wouldn't let him. He couldn't pass. He was not, I guess.
No, but I'm saying the
no.
reason he is only certified is there are no legitimate ophthalmologists that want to be part of his little community.
Ah, true.
They're all like, sorry, I have actual talent, knowledge, and a reputation, so I'm not going to play in your playground. You have fun, though, okay? Go get another perm.
I just can't.
Do you think he
I can't
gets a
believe-
perm on the top of his head?
I think it's a piece, and I can't see how an ophthalmologist could not see how awful that piece looks. I think it sits like right on top of his head. I think he could just lift it straight up. It kind of I think he has kind of curls on the side that kind of provide like a nest for it. It just kind of sits in there. I thought about this probably too much, but I can show you my diagrams if you want.
Okay.
I've got a PowerPoint presentation on it too.
Now that might be a bit much, but it could be entertaining. It's tough to say at this point.
I'm thorough.
Exactly. Do you think...
Yeah.
Who do you think does his hair? Does the wife... Would she have... I'm torn on... I have to be careful on some of these statements. Are these partners to these people? Do they think that there's going to be something really spectacular that comes with being associated with them? I don't get the draw.
I think he's a grifter, obviously, and, he's making money through his position, which is, of course, illegal, but most of them do that. Maybe not all of them, but they certainly, make money through insider trading or whatever. I'm not saying that that's what happened in this particular instance with these stocks, that it was an insider trading deal, or what type of corruption it was, but
The new game
it's
show.
supposed to-
Name that corruption.
Oh God, that could be. There's too many.
One category is lobbyists. You could have. What would you call them, Gabe? Well, it's called Name That Corruption, of course.
There you go. Name that. I can name that corruption in 2 felonies. Jim. Okay, go ahead. Name that corruption.
We were attacked. We were almost killed on the streets. I think if the police hadn't
Child
showed-
sex trafficking.
Oh.
It's child sex trafficking. It's definitely child sex trafficking. Sorry, I'm just very excited.
I think you've got it. I think you've got it.
Yes.
Ding, 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 ding.
Have you seen Aaron Paul? You know who Aaron Paul is from Breaking Bad? Okay. He, before he was on Breaking Bad, before he was known at all as an actor, he was on The Price is Right game show.
Oh, for
And
real?
it's insane. Oh my God, it's insane. I'll link to this because it's this insane clip. He says that he had like 5 Red Bulls before he went up. I'll let you be the judge if it was Red Bulls or it was something. He's on some sort of stimulants because he is just bouncing off the walls and it's hilarious. I mean, everybody's having a fun time with it, but it's like, look at this stooge who can't even settle down. He's just like, yeah! And like jumping around, and it's pretty funny. Now, of course, we know who he is, so it doesn't seem as weird. But at the time, I must have been like, oh my God, should we sedate this guy?
Isn't that kind of the thing? You have to be pretty over the top if you want them to choose you.
Oh, I suppose. Well, I think it was random. From what I'm remembering, the first thing, like everybody in the audience is probably amped up to some degree because, well, you remember Let's Make a Deal, where everybody would come in costumes? Yeah,
Which
those
is
people
on
were.
again.
Yeah, I think it's the same concept, so that everybody in the audience is fair game. And then he just pulls a name out of the hat, and it's Aaron Paul, come on down. So I don't think they know they're coming down until their name's called out. But they know they could be. Yeah.
What I'd been told before was that the people who work for the shows that are going down the line, hey, how's it going today, blah, 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 will kind of write the names or somehow make notes of the people who they think would be up on the stage. Oh my gosh, yeah, I did it. Are you kidding me? I can't believe it. And those names actually get put in a thing and they draw from those.
Okay, that
So
could be too. Yeah, it would streamline things, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you don't want to make a mistake and get somebody up there who's going to be like,
I would imagine if that's the case sorry, we keep talking over each other. You go.
No, I'm done. I said what I want to say.
Well, I
So anyway, what I was going to
Okay. Should I start recording?
Nah.
I'm sure that is the case, and also I would guess that everybody in the audience is under the impression that they're in that pool. You know, maybe.
I don't know. So I think you would almost have to apologize to yourself ahead of time and say, I got to do it. Just give us a chance to get on there. Beg yourself for forgiveness later and go for it. I mean, you're there to win a prize. You're not just there to cheer for somebody else.
Right. Brief career. Wasn't a career, but I have a brief
gig.
Stint, thank you. Doing background work, which is extra work. Movies, television. You know, any crowd scene you see, or basically anybody who isn't speaking is considered background talent. Okay. So I did that for a number of years, and at one point was doing mostly audience, sitting in an audience. There were, I don't know how many of these talk shows there are now, but maybe this was like a bubble where there were just tons of these morning talk shows where there's a male host and a female host, and they kind of fit the same stereotypes, and they have coffee and they talk about kind of light, Today Show, but kind of more folksy or whatever. Okay. Well, not all of these shows can get an audience, so they have to pay people. And I don't know how many of them
like $50,
actually pay people, but yeah.
So you're coming down an escalator kind of pay people thing.
I think it was like $80 from what I remember. Non-union. This was non-union. Because I was not in the union at that time. I joined the union later, so I think if it was union, it was probably like $125 at the time. This is a few years ago, though. Do you remember a show called Mike and Maddie? I don't know if it was local only, or I think it was probably.
Why does that sound familiar?
Mike and Maddie. I think. Let me think of who they were. Now here's the deal with this: $80 is $80. So basically 2 hours of my time sitting there. So basically, you were just there to, and that's it. and whoop, I guess whoop sometimes.
Whatever the sign told
Oh,
me to
my
do.
my hands got so tired. You were literally clapping at every intro, every outro, every introduction to a person. Every guest tells a stupid joke at the punchline of it. You know, you're applauding. Your hands are really sore. You work for that $80. People think it's all glitz and glamour, you know, but you work for that $80.
Did they give you
Tell you.
snacks?
Yes,
All right, there you go. See?
yes, a holding area before you, loaded in. Then and then donuts and stuff. It wasn't like a catered
Wasn't full
meal.
craft services.
No, I don't think there was craft service. I think it was just donuts, and coffee.
That's
and
better
juice.
than nothing, I suppose.
Yeah, continental, kind of a continental breakfast, but all those. I think it was in the afternoon. Maybe it was in the morning. Maybe it was. I
Get
don't
you
remember if it
energy
was
after all that
live.
clapping.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, that's exactly. You need that sugar. Plus, they keep the studio just a little bit cool, so you don't get too comfortable.
That would be unpleasant.
Hey, $80 is $80. We're talking. What is this? It's 20 years ago.
So you just bring your own parka?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like the David Letterman show. David Letterman very famously kept his like really cool. I was there.
60 degrees.
52
I heard some.
something.
Oh.
Well, I was there.
Singers
I was-
really had a hard time with that.
Oh yeah. People would catch colds. People didn't want to sing. For real. I went to a show. I got tickets the first week that he moved to CBS, and let's see, Martin Short was the guest, and Cyndi Lauper was the musical guest. And it was freezing. It really was. And I knew going in, so I wore a jacket, but it was still super, super cold. Uncomfortably, like where you can't not notice it. Not just, you walk in from a 100-degree day into air conditioning. It's like, oh, it's a little bit cool. But this is like, oh my God.
Cold.
Every place cold. Exactly. Like a meat locker or something.
Have you seen Martin
actually-
Short's going to be on a new show
No. What is it?
called Ghosts? Or no. He's not in Ghosts. It's in an apartment building. Selena Gomez. People are keep getting murdered in this hotel or apartment building. And it looks like it could be just kind of cheeky funny.
It's a comedy, right? It's
Yeah.
not a drama. Okay.
No, because
You never know. He might be at the age where he's like, oh, I want to do drama now.
no, it's a silly, like I said, it's kind of a cheeky little, and he says, oh, it's just like, and I wish I could remember what he, but then there is another one called Ghosts. These people move from Manhattan, and they buy this big old house, whatever, and they're talking about, they're going downstairs, and it's like, yeah, all this space in the city, all these people, well, it'd be nice to have, and they're downstairs, and she's kind of fishing around, and she finds the string to pull the light, and there are all these just very dreary ghosts dressed in gray right behind her, and the light goes out right away. And it's like, this could be, we all need a little more laughter these days. So it could
We
be
do.
just some silly.
I'm a mega Martin Short fan. Love him.
I could go for seeing a little more Martin Short. I think it's
SCTV. I was a
time.
huge fan of SCTV back in the day, as they say. Jiminy Glick. Do you know his Jiminy Glick
Well,
character? Yeah, of course. There you go. Yeah.
Of course.
Back in my autograph days, back when I was.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I got
no.
I got Martin Short signed my Inner Space DVD. Do you know the movie Inner Space?
I've not seen it.
Joe
but
Dante movie.
Of it, I believe.
It's he gets shrunk, injected into the bloodstream of Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
And then also Meg Ryan is in it. She's the love interest. I don't remember, but it's a goofy comedy. And also, I actually have in my possession a piece of the David Letterman set, the CBS set. I don't know if you remember, but behind David was the backdrop was sort of a mock-up of the bridges of it looked like a bridge, but it's actually, if you know the bridges here, it's part of it was the Manhattan Bridge, part of it was the Brooklyn Bridge. So one of those pieces I have, one of the pieces of the what do you call it, the thing, whatever holds up the bridge, the foundation thingy, pillar thingy. And the reason I have it is, I'm going to call it a thingy. And
Technical.
yeah, I think that's Latin, isn't it? Thingus would be the
From
Latin.
Yes.
So here's what happened. You know, when Dave finally quit, he retired. And when he left, Stephen Colbert took over. But there was a little bit of a gap there, you know, because they had to, you know, put in new seats and redecorate and everything like that. And so apparently they weren't that happy with Dave leaving because they took his set apart. They let him take whatever he wanted. He didn't want anything. Apparently all he took was like his coffee cup and something else, some little tiny thing, but he didn't want any part of the set or whatever. So they just dismantled it and took it and threw it into dumpsters on the street. And I was at work. I'm online and I see the New York Post has just broken the story that they're just throwing the shit away. And there's a photo of like guys just carrying stuff and putting it in, you know, big utility dumpsters. And I was like, oh, I get off work in like 2 hours. You know, I'll head up there. It's sort of on my way home. I'll head up there and see if there's anything left or if there's anything going on still. And so I do. I get up there and people are still in the dumpsters pulling stuff out. So I'm like, it's a once in a lifetime thing. So I'm like, I got to get something that'll be cool. You know, I'll know what it is. But basically everything was taken. Actually, the skyline part, there was this 5 or 6 college guys working in tandem to assemble it. So anyway, so I got a seat back because they threw all the seat backs out from the Ed Sullivan Theater and also the pillar post thing.
So the long and the short
Pillar
is
post.
David Letterman dumpster diving.
Correct. Now, this isn't dumpster diving in like there wasn't food or anything. These were, you know, in.
It's dumpster diving.
Sure.
You can dress it up. You can put silk on
the
sails
only
there, but you're
things
still
that were in
dumpster
this
diving.
The only things that were in this particular dumpster that I dived into, were parts of the Letterman set. That's all that was in. They rented the dumpster for this purpose. They threw it. So it wasn't like I was coffee grounds and eggshells.
People, he's still dumpster diving.
I didn't find any people in there. I just have I guess I have the prickles on my, wait, are those prickles? What, the hairs on my, I don't have hairs on my back. Hairs on my neck. Well, if I had hairs on my neck, they would be standing up, whatever, because when I think of dumpster diving, I think of the person who was my tenant from hell, who was a dumpster diver. So, yeah, if you sense any defensiveness, I cop to the fact that I literally dove into a dumpster. No, I literally dove into a dumpster, but I don't do that with if it was just a dumpster, I wouldn't be like, hey, I wonder what's in here. I wonder what's in here. There might be something. I hope people understand. So have you seen the Suicide Squad yet? Not to be confused with Suicide Squad, but the Suicide Squad. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It is, yeah.
I am hoping to see it.
First one's awful. Suicide Squad is awful. And this one, which I would prefer to think of as Suicide Squad 2, just because it's easier for my linear mind to think of it that way rather than the Suicide Squad.
Okay.
It's funny. It's dark. You know, it's R-rated, so it's bloody. Comic book. It's in keeping with the comic book, which was very violent in funny ways.
Oh,
but like Deadpool. If you saw, this is good violence, Mary. Mary, it's like good cholesterol, Mary. There's good violence, there's bad violence. You know, it's okay. This is the good stuff. This is like Deadpool. Did you see Deadpool?
I did.
Okay. See, that's a very violent movie. But it's that type of humor. You see what I'm saying? It's like that sort of tone. And, it's James Gunn who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Yeah. And he originally he worked for Troma back in his early days. Troma being the company, it's a New York company that does indie horror comedy outrageous movies. The Toxic Avenger is the most well-known. Class of Nukem High, that type of thing. But then he wrote the Scooby-Doo movies, and then he made a couple of movies of his own. Yeah, the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. He wrote those, and he wrote the Dawn of the Dead remake, which I don't really care for. So, long story short, he does the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and then he does this one for DC. And John Cena's in it.
Yeah.
And he's pretty funny, yeah. And he's sort of a kind of a Captain America parody character. He's like super nationalistic, and Idris Elba is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's good. It's a good summer movie.
Hoping to be able to go to a movie with my little pipsqueak before school starts.
Ah. What are you in the mood to see?
No, I think it'd be fun to see that. Usually we'll We'll narrow it down to 2.
Uh-huh.
And then whichever one starts closest to the time we want to go to a movie we want to go to. It's very scientific.
You got Jungle Cruise out there with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Cena versus Rock, kind of, if you think about it.
Oh my
Right?
goodness gracious.
Kind of.
It is. Except a bigger stage because it's the box office.
That's right. The only stage that matters. You know, James Gunn, here's the funny thing. I think it's kind of funny. Back in the early days of Facebook, for me at least, when I joined Facebook, I don't even know what year that was, but when I joined Facebook, you know, I went through the process of adding friends. Whoa, my goodness.
Yeah.
Gesundheit.
No, that was him choking.
Oh, jeez. Is he okay?
I don't know. I mean, when he gets up and actually walks someplace, then you have to take a minute and take notice.
Okay. Is that what he did?
Yeah.
Do you want me to hang on while you check?
Hold on. He's
Okay.
getting back in his spot.
You had us worried. You had me worried.
Believe me, if it ever gets, you'll just, I don't even know if you'd hear click. It'd just be headsets off and party's over.
Oh.
Because boo.
I know. Boo's number 1. I get it. I got no problem with that.
Kenny would even tell you that. Meh, you know.
If I'm top 15, if I can land somewhere in chart position that people would respect, I'm happy with that.
Kenny'd probably laugh and be like, I know what I hear ya. I hear ya some days.
Me too, right?
I used to be, you know, I used to be in the top. I used to think I was the top guy. And then it's like, well, you know, you grew up, got friends outside the house. It's not my fault.
Things change.
We're all just doing what we do. Isn't that right?
So Facebook. So I add my friends, you know, and I go through that process. And it used to be that a little window would pop up. People you may know. I guess based on friends, you know, they would connect the dots, like LinkedIn, and they would, since you share 5 friends, you probably know this person. And I used to have the policy that I didn't want it to be like, I wanted it to be people that I knew, that I legitimately knew. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and having worked in varying degrees of the lowest rungs of the show business ladder for a number of years, I do know some people who are, you know, to some degree famous. So that's fine as long as I know them. But for some reason, James Gunn kept popping up. And this was before he did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. This was before I knew him as the guy who worked for Troma. And I knew him as the guy who did the Scooby-Doo movies. So that's all I knew him as. He did a movie called Slither, which was pretty good. He directed it himself. And he just kept popping up, his face. And it's like, people, you may know him, click on here. And I just kept saying, no. I have this policy in my head that it's just pure. If I don't want it to be fan. I'm a fan of this person, whatever. And finally, at some point, I just reached my tipping point. And I said, okay, already, I'll friend. So I friended him. And then the floodgates opened because.
And now you're glad you did, huh?
Well, yeah. So because when he got the Guardians gig, I remember he posted it, and I was excited for him. I remember. I mean, we bantered a little bit. You know, he was not he was not busy enough that, you know, he actually was kind of like on his Facebook page. I think now he's probably mostly Twitter, and he still posts things on Facebook, and I see them. It's not a conversation. You know, it's more like he posts something, and then people have a conversation about it. And half of them think they're talking to him, like he's gonna answer them. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, but that's social media. That's
it is.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's a good dude. He fell under some Twitter nonsense. Somebody tried to Me Too him or cancel him or whatever the term was that week by picking out some tweets that he had made, like. Well, when was Twitter born? I don't know. I guess it couldn't be 20 years ago, but 10 years ago, whenever it was. Old tweets we're talking. And they were sort of cringy, edgy, edgelord humor, you know, where it's the point of the joke is to be outrageous and cross a line.
Yeah.
And I'm of the opinion that there are no rules when it comes to comedy, that you don't have to apologize if it's in the form of a joke. Now, jokes will hurt people, obviously. Donald Trump didn't tell jokes. He just insulted people. That's not a joke. I mean, a joke. If you
is a joke.
He certainly pulled a joke on everybody else, on the country. free world.
Not a funny one either.
No, it's like one of those, in 10 years we might laugh about this, probably not.
No.
Because I'll be in gulags in 10 years.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody tried to get him for something that he had written how many years prior?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, totally.
See, I'm paying attention.
Okay, thank you. One of them was I don't know. You know what Rickroll is? This was a thing the kids would do. It's still probably going on. Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up.
I like
Right.
Rick Astley.
Okay, well, he did a video for his very popular song called Never Gonna Give You Up. And somehow this became a meme online, and it became a joke that you would trick people into clicking on what would turn out to be the video for that. And when that happened, you got rickrolled. And so people went to elaborate lengths, like, click here. And the more elaborate the joke, obviously, the better. He tried his hand at this, and he did a couple. And one was, I think it was promising child pornography or something. It was alluding to that.
Okay,
And
yeah, that's
click on.
never funny, though.
No, I'm not saying it's funny. What I'm saying is you have to have the rickroll as the context. That's the punchline he made. When they found this text, it was more like, he's sharing child porn. Of course he wasn't at all. And yeah, you could certainly make an argument that that's not funny or it's in bad taste or whatever. I'm not, I think it's completely subjective. I don't find it funny. The rickroll part is the funny part. That I guess what he was trying to get at was not only would you feel stupid for being rickrolled, but you couldn't tell anybody about it because you just clicked on a link that promised you something that you were not supposed to be looking at in the first place. I guess that's the joke. All right. But what happened is when he had just gotten the Suicide Squad gig, and fandom is so much fun, Mary. I'm horrified just from the little glimpse I see into it sometimes. The Justice League thing, that there was this battle, that the Justice League movie, that Zack Snyder has this online fan base that's like really rabid. They, for some reason, thought of James Gunn as the enemy. I still don't really understand why, but they were behind getting these tweets exposed.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And so what happened is they fired him. He got fired from the project, from the Suicide Squad. And James Gunn's fans and some actually like higher up people came to his public defense and said, this is ridiculous. Basically what I said, that there's context missing from these quotes, and he publicly apologized for them, but that didn't really help. And then finally, after, I don't know, maybe a month, finally they relented, the studio rehired him, and then he went on and made the film. And it's great. It's great. Yes. It's bloody, though, Mary. Are you ready for this? Just be prepared. There's lots of blood. Like I said, it's good violence. Like good cholesterol. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe not.
It's subjective. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. 3 people passed. Marky Post.
Oh, yes. Marky Post from Night
Court.
Right?
And a couple other, she had done some other things of which I wasn't very familiar with. That doesn't always mean a lot. She'd had cancer for 4 years. They said just very quietly. 2 other people who I don't, it's one of those things. I'm like, Mary, you need to remember this. And then, bloop. Lee'll remember it. Lee'll know I don't have to.
Let me think. Who did die? Who died this week? I don't remember. Now that you mentioned Marky Post, I do remember seeing her, but gosh, I don't.
See,
I'm gonna have to look this up. Let's find out, because we're gonna give somebody short shrift here. Somebody went to the trouble of dying, and we're not even gonna mention it.
I know.
It's like insult to it's like worse than injury, death. It's like insult to death.
I have some friends who work at a radio station.
Mm-hmm.
And they have death pool.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And so, at the beginning of the year, they all make these selections. And then at the end of the year, they tally up to see who got the most.
Yeah.
I used to think it was pretty heartless. And then I'm like, it's not like they're making them die, I guess. I don't know.
No one's accusing them of that.
They're not willing it into happening.
It's money.
I Why can't I
Okay,
think?
celebrity death. I'll do that.
I'm just
Celebrity
looking up some
death
fun,
match.
just looking up some fun stuff here. What are you looking up, Lee? Oh, just see who all passed. I'll use the nice word.
Okay, this is going to recent celebrity deaths. We'll try that. Oh, Jackie Mason. Well, Jackie Mason died July 24th. That was a few weeks ago. I referenced Jackie Mason in one of the intros. Do you remember the Ant and the Aardvark cartoon? I'm gonna get it in. Remember that? It was part of the Pink Panther show.
Oddly, I don't.
Robert Downey Sr. Of course, we spoke of him.
Yes.
Biz Markie. That was July 16th. We're going back here.
I think it's interesting because isn't he who had the played off the got 99 problems but ain't one from Jay-Z, but he said I got 99 problems but a vax ain't one, and then guess how he perished?
Not Biz Markie. You're talking about Biz Markie?
Isn't he one of them that passed from COVID?
I don't think so. Let me look him up. He was the he had basically had the one hit. You say he's just a friend. Oh baby, please, you got what I need.
Oh yeah.
You want to join in? But you say
No.
he's just a friend.
You gotta carry that one on your own there, dude.
All
But
right.
I think you got it. I think you can handle it, man.
Dead at 57. Holy mackerel. No, he died of type 2 diabetes. Different guy. So you take back everything you said about Biz Markie, because
Who's that?
you have it.
Some rapper just perished. Was a big anti-vaxxer and perhaps should not have been.
Mm.
And I'm sticking more to my seeing as hospitals are being so overrun in particular places with COVID patients.
Mm.
If you don't now, and again, I think I've said this before, I have friends who simply cannot, for health reasons, cannot get the vaccine. Now, then there are those who choose not to, who end up sick. I'm kind of sticking to my, if you get sick because you just chose not to get it, stay home. Don't go clog up the hospital system. Nope. You made that choice because now there are pregnant women who can't go into hospitals. Even aneurysm. All these people, they're just like, we're sorry. People are showing up in ER bays and they're sitting there for an hour. So the ambulance will get another call and they can't do anything because they've got somebody sitting in their ambulance. So cities are telling people, unless it's, emergency, you've got a hatchet sticking out of the back of your head. Don't call 911.
Yeah, I think I saw Arkansas is out of beds. They had 8 beds in the ICU. I'm talking Arkansas, the state.
Yeah, Arkansas. They're shipping people. These states shipping people to other states. One place I saw they sent people to Denver, and it was one of those states. So people may disagree with me. Jimmy Crack Corn, the rest of that.
That's public domain. We can actually sing that on the show and have any
No,
problems
but
on YouTube.
how's the rest of it go? And I don't care.
That's right. That's how I remember.
Uh-huh. You made a choice.
I laugh at these people. I'm actually, at this point, unfortunately, it's still hurting the wrong people, which means the good people. There are people still who are doing everything right and are still dying, unfortunately. Not that many, but the ones that aren't, the ones that are proudly unvaccinated, good riddance. Move over. Thank you.
Yeah, in the hospital, dying, about to get put on vent. Can I get that? No. No, you can't get it now.
Exactly. I've read that. Exactly. Right before they started the intubation, they're like, I'll take the vaccine now. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And it is because somebody loves all of these people who are sick and who are dying. And so, to them, sort of sorry about the way I feel about this. However, and then did you see, golly, what is it with me and not remembering where these things happen? Outside a school meeting, the doctor got up and was talking about masks. Masks work, right?
Okay.
Just saying his piece on that. These crazies, when he's trying to leave, and the sheriff's deputies are out there, nobody stops these crazies. We know who you are. We know where you live. We'll find you. I mean, threatening. Full on threatening this man.
And for the crime of what again?
Oh, he had the audacity, the nerve to talk about that, well, masks work.
Burn him!
But the scary part that his life is basically being threatened. And it's just like, well, whoopsie doodled all the day. And it's videotaped. It's like somebody better go out, find these people, and arrest them. Now. I can't take much more of the crazy, man.
Oh, it's not going to subside. I think it's just getting started. In fact, by the time this show is edited and you at home are listening to this, or at home or wherever you may be, you're free to listen wherever you feel most comfortable listening to. I'm not imposing any sort of scenario that you have to.
We don't want to tell you how to do you.
No, you do you, and we'll do us. And
do you however you do you, because nobody does you.
Right.
Like you do.
But take a break from doing yourself once in a while. Just get up and walk around a little. Don't just do you and do you and do you. Just get up and walk around. Go outside maybe.
It's gorgeous outside right now.
Oh, it's like 100 degrees here, at least.
Well, that little outside area that I have in the back with all the plants and the lights. I mean, it's a touch warm, but it would have been lovely to sit out there. Wouldn't it be lovely? Lovely.
You know, I think I was talking about something and I hadn't the slightest idea what it was.
It's
totally
working.
took a right turn.
It's working. Wow. Then the funny thing, you'll listen back to edit. Like, that was it. That was
But I'll
it.
say, oh shit, I can't use this now because I didn't finish my thought. And like, I can't just leave half a thought there. I don't know. We were talking about masks.
Throw the thought
We're talking
in.
about masks and we're talking about, I guess
Asshats and...
Yeah.
Can I say asshats?
Oh, the crazy. You can say asshats. Is it hyphenated? No, it's not.
No.
It could be as shats.
It's just one word. No, it's one of my favorites, actually.
Ass white is a good one too. I use that one. Yeah, so this ass wipe was sitting next to me, right? It's a good way to start any story, basically.
Right now, his cousin the asshat.
Yes,
yeah. Yes, I do recall that.